See, they should do that for like the Tonight Show.
They should do it for the Tonight Show.
Great, except like a fire.
Are we going?
Yep.
All right, so see, I can shoot my wife with this now because we're going live.
You got me all wet.
Yeah, shut up, we're going live. It's like a cat. Hey everybody, this is Matt. We're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. It is live on Wednesday night. Who was that? I can shoot him now. So to my right, your left, I have Dan from Guitar Wood Experts.
Hey.
And Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone. And no one but me has cutoffs on except... No, I'm the only one
You're
with
the only
cutoffs.
one with
Yeah,
cutoffs,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm looking like I just stepped out of 30 years ago. 50 years ago. Anyway.
Dan is a couple of cuts away from cutoffs.
I mean, yeah, really.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like-
Dan is ready to go for
Yeah,
He
cutoffs.
is
cutoffs.
the closest to cutoffs.
Yeah.
So we have no idea what we're going to talk about. We're relying on everybody here to ask us questions. This is Ask Us Anything, and anything that you want to talk to Dan about. Dan flew all the way out from Portland, and boy, are your arms tired.
They are.
Ha, ha,
We
ha.
actually had to do, we couldn't get a direct flight, so we had to first
Oh, really?
go up to Seattle,
Okay.
and then go to Seattle over here, and then we're leaving, then we're going to LA, and then back
Okay.
up to Port. Because for some reason now with the flights, you can't just go
Fly
right.
somewhere.
That doesn't make any sense at all, but
No.
okay. All right.
So for those of maybe people on my channel
Yes.
who don't know who Dan is,
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
then
So,
what does
so yeah,
Dan do?
they need to let everyone, or we need to let everyone know because you're filming concurrently with
yeah,
us, right?
we're doing double live content.
So yeah, so if you're watching over here, you're on Texas Toast, and if you're watching over here, you're on Dylan Talks Tone.
And if you're watching over there on Texas Toast, you should be over here on Dylan Talks.
No,
Tone.
you shouldn't, because this is where the action is.
You know, you're allowed to watch them twice, and you're allowed to like them twice.
And you're actually
Yeah.
allowed
One.
to start them on two different computers at the same time.
And let them go, yeah.
Just let them
Couldn't you
go.
just have it on two different windows?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Although we
That's
didn't start them
correct.
at the same time, so there's probably some sort of weird echo.
Who started early?
I think they started theirs just a tick
Because
early.
accidentally.
I like having the cat sprayer over
Yeah.
here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what does Dan do?
Dan works at Guitar Wood Experts.
Uh-huh.
Dan is the man at Guitar. He doesn't just work at Guitar Wood Experts.
I
When
work
you-
a little bit.
When you call Dan, when you call GWE, you want Dan on the phone. You don't want that lady, not because she's not nice, but because you want Dan. Because I mean, look, he's like a fucking Viking. I mean, yeah,
I did have the hair up today a little bit for that.
I know. Yeah, I need to.
Yeah.
Let's all go.
That's
Okay.
right. Just feel it out.
I can
I
almost.
just
feel
gotta
it.
gotta free it, man.
Yeah, you just gotta let it go. Just
Yeah. All right, I feel good,
hey.
but I don't feel as cool as you. Okay. So Dan, tell us about Guitar Wood Experts. Tell the
Yeah.
people at Dylan Talks Tone.
Yeah.
What do you guys do at Guitar Wood Experts? What are
So-
you experts in?
Basically, what we do is we connect everything from the mill to the luthier. So when there is wood out in the woods, they have to get it and they hand to somebody who can actually do something with it. And the luthier wants to find the exotic tone woods, but there's this big bubble in between. So our job is to basically make sure the wood has a place to go to, it's graded, it's weighed, it's QC'd, and then we can get it over to the luthier in some type of block form that they can actually make a component out of.
Yeah.
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 It's actually nowhere near as exciting as it is. I mean, we have to go out into the woods.
How long have we known each
fight off
other?
the bears, huh?
How long have you and I known each other? 4 or 5 years?
It's been 5 years now.
It's
I
been a
think.
long, long time, yeah.
It was it
Dan
was
came to the
NAMM.
first Texas Toast days.
That's
I
right.
did,
Dan was at the
I
very
did.
first Texas
Oh,
Toast
that was
days.
so much fun.
I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
you came out.
January.
Was it
It
January?
was January this year. It was right before they shut everything down with COVID.
Okay, I thought it was. I
Yeah.
thought it was further back than that. So you and I did a many-hour Q&A,
Yes.
which was a lot of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Q's,
Yeah,
and I
think
know there's
some
going to be
A's.
A's. Yeah.
So I want
So
to say that we've known each other for like 4 or 5.
Oh,
Hours.
at
Hours
least
at least.
easily,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you know when you connect with somebody that much, it's not even like 4 or 5 hours.
it's like you guys have been BFFs.
Time is
forever.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
See, the second I left here, I actually texted my mother and I said, I have a BFF. I mean, it was a little weird, but she was okay.
It's a little, yeah. Okay, she knew what was up. Okay.
She gets that a lot.
Gotcha. So Dan is also supplying at reduced prices a lot of the woods, if not all of the woods that we're using for this week of build your own guitar body classes.
That's right.
People would call you and then be like, hey, I want to, like
Yep.
day one we had a block of mahogany come in.
Mhm.
And Doug has a block of mahogany that he started a Les Paul with. And Jeff has used one of the blocks of ash that we get from you. And
Yep.
There's Dan, not Dan from GWE, but Dan from over there from Texas. Not Kingsbury, Texas, but that's the street that he lives on, so I like to say Kingsbury, Texas. He used a block of ash that you sent, and it's all really, really nice, very light swamp ash.
It is.
Apparently, Fender can't get it. Texas Toast can get it from Dan at Guitar Wood Experts.
That's right. 'Cause
So, yeah.
ash has been hard to get for a while. There's been a drought. No, sorry. Well, there's kind of been it's not a drought exactly. It's been a flooding. So the areas of where they want to get the ash out of, they've been unable to. So they've had to go to surplus suppliers.
That's right. When
Yeah.
Fender had their announcement, we're not going to use swamp ash anymore, I called you and I said, what's the story, Dan? How come
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to get swamp ash from Fender? And you're like, well, it's kind of been hard to get for a while.
Yeah,
So
this isn't new. It's been going on for like 2 years.
why do you think Fender is going to stop using swamp? Do you sell to Fender?
Not directly.
Because you guys sell to lots of big companies that
Yeah,
you
and
guys
we-
know the names
And then
of.
we also sell to other suppliers that
Okay.
supply other people. So
Okay.
one of them is Fender. So we all kind of trade back and forth. You know,
Okay.
everyone in the industry is somehow connected.
So it's
very-
possible that you are in the supply chain somewhere.
Yeah, it's not unlikely
At
that-
some
that-
But
point.
I
okay.
might not even, because a lot of times I sell to third parties,
Mhm.
and their job is just to bring a lot of wood in.
Okay.
And they distribute like in Australia, or they'll distribute in like, Europe. But I don't know who they're supplying.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Cool.
why do you think they're
Yeah,
scaling
what's
back the use?
what's the straight
They really
story,
haven't been
Dan?
using- I mean, really, they love alder. I mean, Fender
Okay.
loves alder. And I think what happened was they were getting to the point where it was getting a little tight for their supply,
Mhm.
and they looked at the forecast and they realized it was going to be difficult to continually bring it in and supply the models they had. So
Okay.
they said, okay, we're going to scale back on those models. We're just going to use the ones of the wood that we really can make sure we get our hands on, because they don't want to not fill the orders.
Okay.
And then when the wood comes back in again, my guess is they'll probably switch back and say, hey, everyone, the swamp ash is...
And there'll be like a
Yeah.
buying frenzy.
Yeah,
for
because right
swamp
now,
ash.
frankly, the price of ash has gone up a lot. I mean,
Okay.
it's quadrupled in the past like 5 years.
And if you're making 1,000 guitars a day, that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
That's
If you're
a big,
making
big deal.
if you're making 10 guitars a year,
Yeah,
you can
it-
absorb that
totally.
easily.
Not
yeah.
a big deal. Not a big
You
deal.
know, did you know that one of the wood buyers for Fender actually contacted me after we did
No.
that video about,
Uh-huh.
hey, why is Fender stopping using? Yeah, and he was very, very kind. So
Yeah, I mean-
nice guy.
Yeah, and most of the people in that particular area, they're nice about it. They have their bottom line to fill.
Mhm.
That's the whole thing. I mean, it's a business.
And it's
Did you-
not that they're quitting using it; they just
No.
stopped using it on like their volume.
Right,
pieces.
like if
Are
you
they
look-
as a custom shop still going to use some
Yeah.
of it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and you look at how many times a company has stopped a product and then brought it back. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Coke. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember New Coke?
Sure.
That didn't last. Right back all the time.
They did that on purpose. So
They
that,
totally
Yeah,
did.
we.
Well, and Fender will do that on, like
Yeah.
you said, they will do it on
Yeah.
purpose at some point.
That's just called marketing.
That's exactly
There's
right.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You might be a little soft-spoken.
I always am
next to
soft-spoken.
him, yes. And
Especially
also,
next to me.
and
yeah.
Yeah, so pipe down, Flaherty.
and also weenie roller.
I'm gonna talk really softly now.
That's really
That's,
sexy.
that's so not my style. So, are there any
So-
questions that?
Well, so somebody mentioned the other day that every time a tool goes on, your voice goes up like 20 decibels.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
you seemingly don't have a ceiling to how loud you can be.
No, oh no,
You
I can
should
be
try-
very loud. Yeah.
You should try mixing the audio for these videos for the last 3 or 4 days.
Jeff, you just walked by the shop, man. I'm gonna have to shoot you with water now.
Don't do don't.
So yeah,
It's all good. Oh, we got it. Well, we've had a couple of super chats.
let's get to those.
We had one, first thing that I think was first super chat. There it is.
Before Dylan's, before any
Happy
on Dylan's
Wednesday,
page.
first super chat from Dave Hawkinson.
Thanks,
And
Dave.
then we got one from some guy. I don't even know who this is. I think this is a made up thing. Colorado Croissant Guitars. Dylan, since you even talk tone, please
Love croissants.
explain to Senor Tostado that the best tone comes from pure nitro and guitars made only with your hands.
Do the. I wonder if the guys at Colorado Croissant Guitars have received our cease and desist letter from Fromage Schuster and Pitts Lopez.
In
We have a legal team.
Strawberry Marker,
Yeah.
which we pay extra
We
for.
paid extra for that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm this week using only the finest materials for the guitar build that I'm working on.
I think maybe we should maybe we should give people a sneak
Yeah.
peek of that a little bit.
You wanna?
Well, I don't. Maybe it's
No,
up
I
to
would,
you.
Totally, it's gorgeous.
Because I want to get Dan from Guitar Wood
Yeah.
Experts to talk about some of that tone. But we can get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But maybe we
Excuse
will.
me.
Maybe we will. Because I think we decided today we're going to actually do a proper
A
I'm
proper
excited.
reveal.
to have actually a guitar that I worked on.
Wait, you mean
Yeah.
you have a sheet? You're gonna actually do a reveal?
Yes. Well, we do reveal videos every Friday, Dan.
But you have the sheet?
So the guitar
No.
that I'm working on,
Oh,
I think
no.
this is
We
going to
haven't.
happen on Friday. But we could do a little unfinished preview because the wood guy is here.
I'd like to see it.
So we would like to get the Wood guy's response to
Mhm.
this
Yes.
this guitar. Okay.
So we'll get to that.
Chris has some of what we used for your guitar.
Oh.
For your guitar, Dylan.
Oh, really?
Look.
Yeah.
This is,
It's really
It's
really
really
not.
not.
But
Oh.
yeah.
But
But
it's-
as you
it
can
could be.
see, it's the same
It could be.
same
this is
material.
nicer than what's in
Yeah.
the guitar that I'm-
We use CDX. See, This
Mhm.
is got birch, I think, or something. So,
Yeah.
are there any other questions that we need to get to? Super chat.
Beer money and priming you for building my humbuckers from Doug.
Oh, nice.
From
Oh.
Doug from Florida.
Doug super chatted all the way across the
Wow.
world.
Live studio audience.
Live studio audience. That's right. Anything else that we need to get to before we?
Yeah, Greg Pearl says, how long will Dan be here?
How long will you be here,
Uh,
Dan?
I have to go back tomorrow, unfortunately, so I'll just be here tonight.
This is it.
Yeah.
Can you explain the difference between swamp ash and normal ash real quick?
Yeah, Dan.
Oh,
let
sure.
us
Give
know.
us
No,
the
sure,
30-second synopsis of that
No, I
situation.
can't do 30 seconds, but I'll do
A
my best.
minute?
Sure. So
Okay.
basically what happens is ash is one of those woods that's really dependent upon the environment it grows in.
Okay.
So the difference between northern ash, which normally is considered much heavier and denser.
That's like
and-
baseball bats.
Exactly,
Okay.
like Louisiana sluggers.
Okay.
And you go to like swamp ash, which is by comparison extremely light. Everyone thinks it's a different type of wood. It's actually not a different type of wood. It's where it's grown.
Okay.
And swamp ash is literally grown in swamps. It wants to be submerged, and ideally you want to have the water to be able to flow through the bottom of it. So the trees like this, and you'll see the bottom part kind of like get all bulbousy, and that's the part that you really want. The low part of the tree, the part that's been submerged for a while,
Okay.
it's the lightest part of the tree. Well, the problem is, and this is where the whole issue of starting in the woods come in,
Keep talking. Keep
there's
talking.
been issues as far as it actually being able to get harvested. And that's the difference between the northern ash and the southern ash. You could look under a microscope and you won't tell a difference. It's the same genetically structured.
So, because it's like a self-fulfilling problem
Mhm.
because it actually grows underwater, but then when you have a flood and
Yeah.
a tree
Oh, like
dies,
ash.
then you
So I have both kinds of ash here, Dan,
Mhm.
and I have two of the coolest things that ash is used for, and you can really tell the difference in the grain, the way that the grain
Yeah.
looks on a Telecaster made with swamp ash
A what?
and a Louisville Slugger made with
Chester.
yeah. We call this the Daily Driver,
There you
but Dan made this, so he
Yeah.
can call it whatever he wants. So yeah. So you can really tell the difference. I mean, the grain looks similar, but it seems airier almost through
Yeah.
the wide patches. It smells like popcorn when you cook it. So can we shut that door?
Oh, by the way, William says hi, Dad. And he sounds
Hey.
very proud to be your son.
It's the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's totally the
other
beard.
thing too is if you look at the grain on this, because you have to kind of compare it to be the same.
Mhm.
So, since this would be the flat sawn, this would be the quarter. So look
Yeah.
at it like this, and then
How can we get both the things?
see
Okay.
right there.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden the grain doesn't look so spacey.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, but you can
But now
tell.
do you see the holes here? If you get really close in.
Can we zoom in, Chris? Can we get close?
Oh, we can zoom.
Extreme zoom.
Extreme
see
close
all
up.
the little extra holes there? You can see them mostly in the end grain. And when you look really close on a microscope, it's like a whole bunch of straws that are pressed together. And the wider those straws are, that really makes the difference as far as how light it's going to be as far as density goes.
So the straw is what sucks the water up to the
Exactly.
leaves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in this one here, they're just incredibly small and tight.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching Jaws
should do
3D
3D.
there for a second. Yeah.
That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll leave you back your wood.
Yeah. Who did we decide this was? David Pecker?
That is very
Can't be.
interesting.
That can't be right.
Dave Parker.
Oh yeah, Dave
The
Parker,
pirate.
Yeah. So what else? God, that's annoying as fuck. What else we got, Chris?
Southeast Home Recording says I'm jelly of that beard. I think he's talking to you, Dylan.
Hey man, I've been working on I like can grow, complete, and shave as much of a beard as I'm gonna get in one day.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
it.
You're smooth.
Yeah.
Hey man,
You're a smooth operator.
I'm genetically predisposed to smooth.
to smooth it,
I
dude.
am. Yeah.
You're built for swimming.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes,
this is a great opportunity, guys, on our page and Dylan's page to talk to Dan about anything that you want to know about tone woods or availability of certain pieces, or if you want to. Do we still have that thing going on?
Yes.
That deal with.
Oh, I kept it going.
Okay, so and if you want to get a little bit of a discount, is it Texas Toast?
Texas Toast 15.
Texas Toast 15 at
That's
checkout,
right.
and you get a break on Tonewood from Dan at Guitarwood Experts, which is really,
Yep, and we're
really
just
very
doing a
kind
flat
of you.
15% off.
Is that anything
Okay,
like
cool.
the freshman 15?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, not that one. That's different.
It's different? Okay. All right.
Do you guys have any questions at DTT?
Yeah. Is there anybody over there? We got anybody watching tonight? Good. Hi everybody.
Maybe you could change the name so it's DDT.
Well, then I would probably get like demonetized or something for having an explosive or some kind
Well,
of.
no, DDT, that was like the insecticide, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it gave everybody a disease.
Oh.
It's illegal.
Yeah, but bed bugs went away.
Well,
Yeah.
Now look
wasn't
what's
that
happening.
the stuff that was making the bald eagle's eggs too thin?
Oh, I don't
Remember
know.
that?
I see. You
Yeah.
know more about nature stuff than I do.
You are the man.
Yeah, up in Alaska they're like rats.
I'm figuring that you know about bald eagles
Really, bald
because bald
eagles
eagles are in
tons.
trees. Trees is wood. It just
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
We got a super chat
All right, what do we got?
from Eddie Burke.
Eddie Burke.
Chris, could you tell Dylan his smoothie Q was freaking awesome?
Oh wow, cool.
What's a smoothie
Thanks,
cue?
dude? So that is a pickup that we make, and it is basically like a vintage spec PAF. Only we use a little different gauge wire, and it's not quite as bright on the top end, thus called the Smooth Q.
That's a great name for. So you have like the 8-ball and
Yeah.
the 9-ball or what?
The
No, the
center
9-ball.
punch, the 8-ball, the
Center punch.
DAF. Dylan applied for.
Ah,
That's our PAF style pickup.
do you have a DDT?
No, but I'm about to make some new stuff, so maybe.
So, maybe-
there's a possibility.
That
there.
Dylan did that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
just happened,
Yeah.
dude.
You're welcome. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty cool.
and Eddie Burke wants me to tell Matt the neck on my telly has the same issue as the Wicked Woman Stealer. It's freaking awesome.
That is
That's
a
one
bad
out of
issue to
2.
have.
Yeah.
And also, hi Dan.
Hi. You know, the problem is when you actually have a guitar that has a really good neck,
Yeah.
people want to play it.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
then you have to worry about people taking it. Because really, the crappier the guitar, the safer it is.
Yeah, if you have a crap-tastic guitar, no one wants to swipe it.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I took Dan's guitar. I'm like, I'm taking that. We're keeping that one here. So,
Talk
yeah.
a little bit more about what's going on with that thing.
Well, so Dan came in and he wanted a Cabernita, but he wanted a recessed Gibson-style bridge, but he wanted it to work with a regular Fender-style neck. So we went with the classic Fullerton single-cut shape and Fiddletron. Filter. Maybe that could be a new pickup. Fiddletron. Filtertron pickups and recessed Tune-O-Matic bridge with string through, and it goes through to the other side, and then he's got rear route for controls and switches and stuff like that. And he this is a 3-piece blank that he got from Dan. Dan shipped it here, and we just went to work right away. So yeah.
And how long did it take you guys to do this?
We started at 10:10 this morning. We had to start at 10 minutes late because Dylan from Flipside Music, the great American guitar store, was late. So yeah.
Do we want to show off the other projects that we did today? Theirs?
Oh, I totally you should.
I
They're
think
very
we
proud of
should.
it.
We could, yeah.
Let's bring 'em
All
over.
right, let's bring them over.
That's why everybody's here this week.
That's
is
true.
This thing, and I really want to I want to
Take a peek at
infect.
this one.
I want to infect other people with the desire to do
Look
this.
at that.
It's what.
That is just gorgeous.
So this is
like
Black
totally
Leary.
popular.
yeah.
This, oh yeah, that's cool too. So this is Dylan from Flipside Music, the great American guitar store, and Ike from the owner of Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. They came in and wanted to make.
Did you want it to be that shape? Ike?
It was supposed to be a telecast.
It was supposed to be.
But Matt said do this.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you
all
don't wanna get
wonky.
I mean,
Kinda
a single
got a
putt
little out of
puller
con-
team.
Yeah, kind of got a little out of control. So we got 4001 style, but this in the guitar form, Dylan, that was the
480.
480.
Mm.
Okay. You know, one of the very first things that I ruined as a budding luthier was a 480 fret job. Yeah, because Rickenbacker puts lacquer over their rosewood, and it was an old one, and the guy wanted a new fret, so it means we had to pull all the old finish off the fretboard, and it was dry as a bone, and it chipped, and yeah, so things happen.
But
But-
you learned.
But I did, and it was on somebody else's guitar. That was a bummer. but
That was a bummer.
yeah. So
But you
anyway,
got so much better.
I got so much better after that.
It's
Yeah.
like that really made you get better.
I only made that mistake 30 or 40 more times.
See.
So yeah, yeah. So so this one is going to be cool. And I think you're going to be getting a call from Rickenbacker, the legal department tomorrow. Yeah.
Absolutely will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's from the Dylan Walker.
And so Ike went with the Billy Bo Jupiter Jet, or the Jupiter Thunderbird, or as we call it, the Duchess. He's already got one of these. I don't know why he wanted this one. This is a lefty.
Yeah, show them the other things that we were going to make it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this one would have been cool. Or if the neck came out this way, it would have been cool. I don't know. You know, it could have been. Yeah. Go. You know, use your imagination.
Mhm.
It could be all right. And then so Jeff worked on this one yesterday. This is another one that came from Dan. This is a very nice hunk of swamp ash. He built a Challenger shape, and we're gonna build the neck for him and ship it out to him in not Alaska, but
You don't know yet? Seattle.
Seattle. That's right.
Seattle represents.
Representing.
The
So
chop.
the chop.
Nice notes, by the way.
Do not fuck.
I forgot a word.
It's gotta. Yeah, but you're not to. So yeah. Okay.
Which is important.
All right. Good to know. All right. Are there any more questions for Dan at Guitar Wood Experts? Is there any more questions for Jeff walking by? Okay, Dan at Guitar Wood Experts. What do we got?
Why spruce is used so much for acoustic guitar soundboard?
Yeah,
It
Dan.
is.
Why?
Well, you know, it's not because it's because it has a very nice bright tone to
Mm.
it, and the wood's also very harvestable. Because wherever you go, you know, whatever part of the world, and you look at the instruments from that area, the first thing you notice is the wood is from that area. So traditionally, it's always from there you're from because that's, you know, easily accessible.
Okay.
Well, for us, being in North America, spruce is something that's found in large quantities. And the other thing is, it's also old growth. So for it to be a really good tone wood, for like an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
it has to be a certain age because every year the grain gets tighter and more compressed. And you don't want to have big, huge, big, thick growth rings.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because everybody wants that real tight
Yes.
grain pattern.
Well, to
Let's
give
talk.
you an
Let's
Yeah,
shoot
first-
off alternate reality and
Sure.
yeah.
And then I actually have a question about the future once you get done with
Okay.
that.
Oh, sure, sure. Like anything. Well, we'll get to
Yeah.
that. So what happens is the wood has to mature, and most people don't really understand about how old wood has to be for it to mature. But like if it's a good tree, a spruce tree for instance, it's going to be between 80 and 120 years old before it's mature.
To get the good stuff.
No.
Oh,
just
just-
before it's
okay.
To
mature.
know what it's doing.
Yeah, it's
What it's
basically
like.
it's going. Yeah, it's like it tried college. It realized
It's
I
like
don't
you've
want to
gone
be a
through
lawyer.
puberty.
It
Over now.
It
experimented in
experimented
college.
some,
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, this might be fun. I'll
Yeah.
just be a tree. And then it has to keep going. And until that wood is like 250 to 350 years old, that tree isn't really big enough to compress the rings for it to be considered good tone.
So wait a minute. It could be as much as 250 years old
As
to
little
get
as.
as little
As
as.
little as.
Wow. Okay.
So as a result, it's very difficult to get that nice old timber. And that's one of the things where we don't even have, you can't really go chop it down.
Yeah.
Most of it has to be fall down. which means, you know, like the tree, it goes through a big storm, it falls over, a whole bunch of Alaskans come out of the wood with chainsaws, they cut the whole thing up, they throw it in a container, and boom, it's going down Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's where spruce is, and so when spruces go tonewood, because one, it's harvestable in the area, because transportation is insanely expensive. Two, we have a wonderfully huge supply of it.
Okay.
And it's such a big supply because they do such a good job of monitoring. I mean, they just
Yeah.
don't let us all go out there and chop it down on day one. And, you know, they divvy up which wood can be distributed to where, and they have the good log sales, you know, so
Okay.
it's all controlled. And because it's so controlled and monitored, we're trying to make sure the wood is gonna be around for a long time, which means any wood that you're playing on right now, most likely wasn't even, it was around before the Revolutionary War started.
Yeah, so if you have a lousy
Put that in
guitar,
your
it was
mind.
made during the Civil War.
Right.
The tree was planted. If you have a good one, it was planted during. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. So my question is an extension of that.
Uh-huh.
So, knowing that it takes so long for all this to happen,
Uh-huh.
knowing that sustainability is a thing,
Mhm.
and knowing what people like in wood,
Yeah.
right? So everybody loves ash, everybody loves alder,
Mhm.
everybody loves mahogany. What, and probably rosewood is a big discussion over the last couple of years.
Oh, huge. Especially with CITES.
Yeah, so what are some woods that would make great guitar materials that you see coming into use
Ooh, that's a
more
great
That is a
question.
good one.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we get, so 20 years from now, what
Yeah.
are all the Telecasters going to be made out of
Yeah.
as we transition from one age of, I mean age as in like, you know, like dinosaur age,
Right.
like one age of wood to the next, where are
Mhm.
we going? Like what's
Yeah.
going to be next?
Yeah, Dan.
So the first, yeah, it's all on
Tell me the future of the Powerball numbers off camera.
I'll get
Yeah.
that later.
Okay.
So what happens is you have to remember that the amount of wood that luthiers use for tone and instruments is not the amount of wood that's harvested every year. It's the insane minority.
Right.
The bulk of the wood is going to building materials and furniture.
Okay.
What does spruce get used for besides guitar? I mean, obviously lots of stuff, but
Yeah.
what's one thing that?
Furniture.
Okay.
Furniture, everything's made of. They
Oh, really?
They'll take every cabinets and they'll look crafts and stuff. But really, it's just not a huge amount that we harvest for tone wood.
Okay.
And the wood that's really good for building isn't necessarily the same wood that we would like to have for musical instruments.
Okay.
And so it's not where everyone's going after the same thing. It's everyone's going after something different. And most of the builders and supply companies, they're using managed, reharvested forest material. So this is fast-growing trees. This is stuff that's designed to push out as many trees as possible. This isn't them going out and just clear cutting.
So a 2x4 can be a way young tree
Oh, way young.
in
way
comparison to what?
Yeah, probably less than 20 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
How about
it's-
this?
it's
How
not
about this
even the same
poplar?
issue.
This is a fast
Poplar,
growing
yeah,
tree,
that's another
right?
really fast-growing tree. But it's also, you know, if you're getting poplar, or I think linden is the other thing a lot of people call poplar. Where's that basewood? I can't remember.
We
the
call
other
this
wood.
black leery.
Yeah.
Check
Oh,
it
yeah,
out.
Yeah, black leery.
Yeah, black leery.
I thought
Yeah.
that was white leery.
No,
Well,
this is black
This
leery.
part's white leery, and this part's
Yeah.
black leery.
That's see, it's got a bunch of green streaks in it. That means it's
Yeah.
black leery.
It's kind of the
You're
difference
right.
between
Yeah.
heartwood and non-heartwood. Heartwood's the part of the core that has a color when it's harvested, and so it goes back and forth. But no, it's not really too much of a concern. I mean, it's something that they have a lot of systems in place right now to keep it all managed, as long as the poachers stay out of it. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah, dude,
people
you know
have.
about that? Because that's a really
It's-
cool. That's
it's-
a really uncool thing that happens.
But
it's
it's-
a
yeah.
fascinating
I've
topic.
read about
Frankly,
it.
I'm
so.
surprised they haven't made some TV movies about it yet.
Really?
Yeah, because these guys, they go off into the woods in the middle of the night, and you know, they have like their little generator, and they fire it up, and they just pick the part of the tree that they know is going to have the flame. And out of this whole big 200-year-old tree, they'll chop out like a chunk of it, and then just leave.
They put it in the back of a crappy old Toyota.
Yeah, and they just run it
and-
home, and
yeah.
that's one of the big issues is the poaching, because at this point the tree has now been damaged.
Yeah.
Insects get into it. It's going to be dead in about 2 years.
It's not going to bounce back. From
No,
that.
no, trees
yeah.
can't recover from this kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so for them getting that load, which keep in mind is a good amount of money, they can probably sell it for 10 to 20 grand.
Wow.
I mean, it's a lot of money, and which is why it's so, you know, people do it.
Do you ever like sit in the woods with a rifle and like night vision?
I don't.
And
I
you're
don't.
like, yeah,
I don't.
cool.
But I
Okay.
have met a couple people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that this is their property, and if they catch somebody on their property, they're going out.
Okay.
They're like, but they're also so far away. If they call for help,
no one's gonna show up.
No,
right?
it's gonna be
So-
hours. By the time they get there, they're gone.
Oh. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there's been several questions about your availability of certain stocks of wood. Specifically, 12-quarter, alder, and 8-inch wide, and a request for your
Alder,
contact
I'm
information.
having a hard time getting.
So I'm thinking
12-quarter
that
alder,
if
wow.
you
Yeah.
provide your contact information
I would love to do that.
to the good people
Yeah.
out there, then they could ask you directly once you're in front of your
That sounds-
your inventory
The
list on your
easiest thing to
computer.
do is just email me at dan@guitarwoodexperts.com.
That's hard to remember. What is it again?
It's dan@guitarwoodexperts.com.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
Dan at Guitarwood Experts.
Not AT,
dot
the
com.
the little
ampersand,
at
yeah,
symbol.
little-
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then also I want to plant a little seed in your head because
Yes.
there's a cherry I'd like to put on the end of this cake today.
Oh, is there cake?
Oh, this is the cake.
Oh,
I
this
got
is-
a cherry.
Okay, all right. All right.
You got anything over there?
Super chat from Adam Roan.
All right.
He didn't even say anything.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.
Thanks so much, Adam.
So Dan, what woods do you have that are totally awesome that everybody loves as guitar? So okay, let me ask a different way.
Yeah.
As a guitar wood expert,
Yeah.
what are the woods that are totally awesome, and what are the woods that straight up chug cock?
That's a tough one.
That's,
Well,
a,
you
that's
know,
an
that's-
awful thing to say.
Chug.
You know, and the hard part is because it's not everything can be used for the same thing.
Yeah.
So like we all love ash, but not for necks.
Yeah.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
Fair point.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like you know, like I wouldn't really want to have a Granadillo guitar because
No.
the thing would weigh like 27 pounds.
Yep.
And so like there's certain woods out there that I really like for certain parts of
Okay.
guitars. But Granadillo is probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
I just love it.
is
Cool.
there
How Pharaoh though is still my absolute favorite to set.
Oh, yeah, that is a cool one. Yes.
is there any woods that you don't hardly sell anything of, but you think guitar builders should be exploring?
Yeah.
What's that one? Oh,
It's
there was-
redwood, and I hate working with it.
Well, redwood's a tough one. Redwood.
I know that
it
you really
tears.
dig it, and yeah.
Well, because I love the sound of it, I love the looks of
Yeah.
it, but when you're working
I
with
love
it,
an acoustic guitar.
it is hard to work with. It tears out
And
super easy.
Yeah, you got to wear a
Um,
mask every time.
Oh yeah, it's super soft, and so like you can't even like really, dig your fingers into it too
Mhm.
much. You've now wrecked it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just a pain to deal with. But I love redwood.
Yeah.
What else do I like a lot? Oh,
Are we doing that thing again?
I'd probably say walnut.
Oh yeah, walnut's
yeah,
a very
I like
cool wood.
walnut.
Yeah, like I just had a whole bunch of Clara walnut tops cut up,
Mm-hmm.
just for drop tops. Because the problem with walnut is it's also really heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't want to have, 2 inches thick of walnut. But like a drop top's fine. You can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used it for fretboards before. And
Yeah,
I
fretboard,
love
yeah.
that.
Well, there's a reason how come so many companies use it as their neck filler. Like when you're trying to stabilize a
Yep.
neck, you use
Because it's very stiff and hard.
exactly, and accepts wood or glue really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walnut's great to work
Hey
with.
Dan, we have a super chat from me.
Yeah. Just start throwing write your super chat on a 20
Yeah,
and
if-
give
if
it to
it's-
Dan.
If it's not on your phone, we're not gonna recognize
Yeah.
it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Just come right up here and put it
just-
in
Put it in
Matt's
the
cutoff.
Yeah, in my
Yeah.
leopard speedo thong.
Yeah, I can do that. The real money,
he
the real
has
money
one.
Yeah,
super
yeah,
chat.
just write your
Yeah.
question on a 20 and then pass
That's
it
the
up.
way his band used to take requests.
Is it?
Write it on a 20 and we'll play it.
Smart. Did you also do that at the strip club when you were dancing?
I still do it,
You
baby.
still do it. Still do it. So my question is, where can small builders get their hands on super exotic stuff like
Yeah.
Keesley uses?
Yeah.
Like the heavily streaked pale moon ebony tops
Yeah.
and
that's-
Buckeye burl?
That's tricky.
Yeah.
That is tricky because a lot of mills that deal with that don't come out and say they have it.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they don't have enough of it. If they don't want to start their own problem. In other words, like, hey everybody, I got this wood, and then they get 10,000 requests for it,
Scale.
and they're like, oh, I didn't have anywhere near enough wood. Sorry about that. And then they end up losing all their customers, and people get burned by them. So oftentimes they don't even want to talk about the fact that they have them. So the best way to get, if you're looking for a particular type of wood, is start searching with the mills yourself. Just call them up and just start saying, hey, I'm looking for this. And most of the mills talk to each other.
Do you guys ever get like you don't know what you're gonna get, but
Yeah.
something shows up and oh my god, this is really totally cool.
Yeah.
Someone will probably really dig
sometimes what
this.
we do is we get the requests in and then we put it out to the mills. So I mean, they're
Okay,
they
that's
can
the way we
just
can do it.
email me,
Yeah.
but they don't always respond. Because remember, a lot of these guys, they're out in the woods, they don't have internet, they're still on sat phones. And so they only come in like maybe once every month or two sometimes, where they can actually contact us.
Wow.
And it's not always a great conversation, because after you've been out in the woods for a month or two, you don't really just want to jump into business. It's,
Yeah.
It's just like,
So to be clear, this business is not like 21st century.
no.
We're
no.
talking an old world style
yeah.
of doing business.
Yeah, a lot of it's just on
To
handshake.
get this wood
A lot
here
of-
on this
Yeah, a
desk.
lot of it's just like complete agreement, over the, it's like in verbal. Sometimes we have to send people out to work with them.
Okay.
Alan loves to go out. That's his favorite thing in the world to do.
To,
is
to meet with the hillbillies
Well,
out
'cause he-
chopping wood
Well,
down.
that's why he looks like a Viking.
Oh,
because
no.
It's trade from 400 years
That's
ago.
Oh, this
me a little
is
bit.
this
That's
is
me a little
Dan,
bit.
but yeah,
But
yeah, you got.
Alan, oh my God, it's his favorite thing in the world to do.
And who's the other guy who
Calvin.
yeah,
Calvin.
he always loves it when I call and ask for some ridiculous thing, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh Jesus. this
Yeah,
guy's
that's Calvin, all right. No, but what was it? But yeah, Alan. So he'll go out there and he'll actually work with the guys. I got a couple photos. I'll find them so you guys can put them on the thing. But he'll go out there with the lumberjacks and actually show them the proper way to cut the wood so it can be turned into tone wood.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
That's the whole thing. Because you just can't chop down a tree and magically it appears as the wood.
How come?
If they chop it wrong, it's wasted. Because it's not big enough, it's not wide
Oh,
enough.
okay, okay.
It could all be riff cut. Because when you have
Yeah.
a log, it's like this. So all the grains are in a big circle. Yeah, like a big circle like this.
Come on, Dylan.
And so when you chop it like this, you would actually chop it to the core.
Yeah.
Like a triangle. And that's
Like a pie?
yeah, like a pie.
Like a
you
pie.
would do it just like a pie. And that's how you would get like the slices if you're doing the acoustic tops or
Yeah.
if you're doing an arch build.
Quarter sawn is one of those funky woods that people don't really get what
Yeah,
quarter sawn
'cause-
really
'cause
is.
again,
and
if
yeah.
you picture like the tree in total, all the rings, that you actually would want to cut squares.
Yeah.
But the problem is the center part is going to be flat sawn, but by the time it's moved out to the sides, it's now riff sawn.
I'm just gonna walk in front.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm,
yes.
I'm getting you a log so that you can
Yeah.
illustrate.
It's log.
Like this.
It's log.
So,
It's big,
That's a
it's
good
heavy, it's
assessment.
wood.
so yeah,
log,
right here.
log. It's better than big,
You
it's
can
good.
see like when you're trying to chop the tree, when you're chopping it and you want to cut it like this, that's how you would get the widest cut.
Where's
So
the
you-
clitoris?
well,
Every man's asked that for a long fucking time. It's not hard to find.
that
Go
could
ahead,
be
go
a
ahead,
whole
go ahead
different
with the
thing.
log, Dan.
No. Anyway, so what happens is, so you're trying to chop the wood here, and well, sunburn doesn't help. But yeah, so you really kind of, so how you cut the wood is just important. So like when we go for spruce, we cut it in billets to get acoustic tops. When it's the ash and everything, it has to be cut, or mahogany, into a way that we get
Yeah.
the blocks. But mahogany also is a soundboard. So you have to decide what type of the wood is going to go into what section. And so these guys, I mean, they're incredible when they do it because they know everything on the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, they just walk by a tree, and they're like,
The
"Oh,
Allen guy who knows what, yeah.
and they know like what the inside of that tree looks like.
Yeah.
That freaks me out still. Wish I could do that. No.
Yes, Chris.
There's a lot of talk from Colorado Croissant Guitars.
There's
Oh,
you fucking popped my cherry.
Sorry. And would you speak to what Colorado Croissant Guitars is?
You want
And-
so Colorado Croissant Guitars wants me to plug their axes?
No.
No, they're better than you, and you're
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're blocking him from the great guitar build-up,
Yep,
and it's all
yeah,
fixed
yeah.
for you to win.
It's time to take Colorado Croissant down a notch or two right now. Go.
It's like you walk into a feud.
I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I want to know who the fuck is this?
That's well, it's Paul from Colorado Croissant Guitars.
That's really a company?
It's Short Fat Lawyer.
It's Short Fat Lawyer.
Remember Short Fat Lawyer?
No.
Who are you gonna call? Short Fat Lawyer.
Oh,
Who are
I
you
love
gonna
that
call?
guy.
Short Fat
Oh,
Lawyer.
he's fucking with
Yeah.
us. Okay,
Oh,
I
he's
was
Totally
like,
fucking with you.
dude,
Yeah.
come over here right now.
He's a guy that came to one of our classes.
That's right.
And
So
he started
Paul,
his own.
Paul came to one of our classes, and
Because
now
he's in Texas,
he
too.
built one guitar, and now he thinks he's he's a master builder, and he's a master something, but it ain't. Yeah, it's
And he was
mostly
told-
putting worms on hooks.
Seen Paul
Yeah.
Reed Smith?
No, not Paul.
And because we are Texas Toast,
Mhm.
he is Colorado Croissant,
Yes.
and he only uses the finest nitros.
Yeah, he uses
his
all
credit.
nitro.
Yep.
Not
Yep.
there's no lacquer. It's just nitro.
It's a nitro.
Just
Yep.
nitro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, you had me like getting really pissed
Oh, Mrs.
off.
Toast
I
was all wound up.
Okay, you had the bike racks, man.
I've been
You'll
in
throw
on the
down in,
gag
like,
since
no
the
time.
beginning, so
You're a
I
dick.
thought it was totally funny. And you're getting all wound up about
He's
it.
he's
Yeah.
getting a cease and desist letter from our legal team, Fromage, Schuster, and Pitts Lopez.
That's right.
Yes.
Pitts
In-
hyphen Lopez.
Yeah.
Great marker.
The third.
Yes.
Dan, I have a real, not thinking far show question.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't realize how far down the rabbit hole went with the wood. When you cut the chunk of wood out of the tree, so
Mhm.
the thing was around before anybody,
Yeah.
even the Vikings.
Can you
It's
I was
existed
go up and
forever.
over and point it? No one can hear the question. Let's
Once
let's
you
get.
cut it out,
Hold on. Start over again, Jeff.
talking about the
Because
straw.
we don't know what.
Just one quick second. They want to get because this.
Yeah,
question's
just
a
turn
really
the
good question.
turn the thing around and
Just
show
wanna hear you say
Jeff.
it.
Yeah.
Read your act. Oh shit.
Chris,
Hey,
get the
Jesse.
F out of my face.
Okay, go so we can hear you.
So you were talking about the straws, how they're compacted together. That's a living tree.
Exactly.
It's been around forever. It's doing its thing. It's biological,
Yeah.
I guess, thing.
Yeah, organism and everything.
Yeah. You cut it out. Now it's like, cutting off a toenail, or, you had a bad night at the bar and you got a couple of scars. You got this piece of meat from a once living thing. What's its half-life? Like, how is it deteriorating? Like, what? Not saying we're gonna have a guitar for 500 years.
Or like the wood that's now cut from.
Yeah, we just hacked it off. We have this. This came from a tree.
Yes.
Well, probably the same tree, right?
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about before. What's happening to it now that it's dead?
So, it's kind of in a state of rigor mortis. Oh wait, we're gonna bring the camera back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Okay, it is a very good question. So when a plant decomposes, because really, any type of tree, you just think of it like a normal plant. Okay, a plant goes through many stages. If you cut the tree off and then take it away before it decomposes, and then dry it, what you're doing is you're freezing that particular state. The object is to try to crystallize those fibers, so they're going to go into a dry state with low humidity. Because as long as they don't have water on them, and as long as they don't get air reacting with that water, it's not going to really decompose. And it could be around for hundreds of years. By oiling it, by treating it, by painting it, you can keep that wood going for, again, hundreds of years. Look at the furniture. They got furniture that's, from the, 12th century. Sorry, it's fine. They have no problem. But it has to be treated, it has to be cared for, and it's the exact same way. If you just took a guitar body, didn't paint it, didn't oil it, didn't do anything to it, it's not going to look good in about, I'd say maybe like 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to decompose pretty quickly. But the idea is that by either air drying it, kiln drying it, or torrefying it, you're locking in the fibers into a state of crystallization in the way you want it to look.
What's another word for torrefication? Some people don't know what that is.
Mummifying?
Roasting.
Roasting.
Yeah.
Torrefication, roasting. There's another one. Baking. Yeah. Well, cremating is a little too much.
Cremating.
Cremating is like if you put it in the oven and you just never take it out.
Petrification, what is that when they talk about wood that turned into rocks?
Okay, so
Ah.
that's perfect. So when you torrefy wood, what you're
This
trying
one's
to
for
do-
Ben at Crimson Guitars too. 'Cause, yeah.
So the torrefication process, again, is trying to get the wood into stable form, but you're actually trying to jump about 40 years. So everyone wants aged wood. They're always like, oh, I want aged wood because it sounds so much better. Well, the truth is it does sound so much better because the wood's reacting differently. When you have the fibers of a tree, even if it's been cut down and air dried for like 2 years, and you kiln dry it, that's fine. The fibers still aren't actually solidified yet. They're still slow. It's like fiberglass.
Okay.
Fiberglass takes like decades for it to actually cure completely.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
No clue.
It's kind of
That's
like
okay.
nitro.
Yeah,
Nitro.
It's like nitro.
Yeah, if you're at Colorado Croissant, it's like nitro.
Dude, I was seriously
Yeah.
pissed. I was like,
But anyway, so what you're trying to
Thought
do,
you
you're
ran
trying to
into
jump
it.
those years where it's not aged yet. So you're trying to take it from a form of it being kind of crystallized and kind of solid, but it's going to take like another couple decades to get that aged wood sound. And torrefication jump starts it because it's leaping all of those years and moving it right to that stage.
Like Evil Knievel?
Exactly, right over right over the Grand Canyon of age. But the problem
Snake River
is,
Canyon.
it changes. It does, but it does change the color. Now I love the color of roasted
Me
wood.
too.
'Cause
Me
it's dark,
too.
and I like it dark.
Me too.
But I know a lot of people are like, I want it to be light. Can
Really?
you can you torrefy the wood and make it light? And the answer is no. No, if you're cooking in an oven, I guarantee you it's gonna be
Can
dark.
you torrefy this toast and make it light?
That'd be nice. Yeah, you should.
I like
tor-
toast, but
I know,
like
I should-
it
yeah.
soft.
Yeah, because really, you're not toasting you're torrefying the toast.
Texas
Is that what he's talking
torrefied.
about?
Oh yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Bring it over here.
Did-
I'll trip on that.
Dan, did you know what? So this is some torrefied lumber that we got locally, and do you know what they call it?
What?
No. See if you can guess what they call this.
Bait?
No.
Dark?
So it's American tropical walnut.
Oh,
is what they call
that
this.
sounds wonderful.
What is
That
it
sounds
actually?
wonderful.
It's maple that's been baked.
Yeah.
It's soft maple that's been baked.
Yeah, it smells like here.
Yeah, it smells like syrup.
Yeah, it smells like pancakes. Right after we got a shipment in. After
American
it's been roasted.
American
yeah.
tropical
I can
walnut.
imagine.
Yeah.
So this is
I can always
this is
tell when you're
bird's eye
working that
maple.
stuff.
This is from Maine.
This is from Dan at Guitar Wood Experts,
Yeah.
by the by.
And I recognize that. And then over here we got the maple. This is non-bird's eye, but
And
at
that's
the same
soft
time-
maple too. It's not hard maple. It's soft
No,
maple.
No,
so.
but it definitely gets the point across. But remember, at one point this was this color,
Yep.
and they put it in the kiln at 180 Celsius for anywhere between, it can be 4 days up to 2 weeks.
How long do you roast
Might be
yours,
going a little
Jesse?
fast there, Jesse.
I could grab it and show.
Yeah, Jesse has some that he self-torrefied in his oven.
Yeah,
It turned out pretty
yeah,
nice.
grab
yeah.
it, grab it and show it off.
Yeah, come here.
Yeah.
375 for 4 hours.
375, 4 hours in the kitchen oven.
It takes longer to cook a turkey.
Right.
So what's actually happening in the wood?
So-
For those that don't know.
Lots of good stuff.
So
Yeah.
let's go back to this for a little bit. Okay, so have the foot like a straw. Okay, and it's kind of bendy. And by roasting it, it's just making it stiff. It's like jumping the part. So instead of it being, because the wood needs to be flexible as a living life form to
Okay.
survive, but you want it to be as firm and strong as possible.
So it's
And
like
so-
when you cryo a barrel.
Exactly.
Or
It's
like
the
a
same
roller
process.
coaster.
That makes
Mhm.
sense.
You want it to keep its shape, but it needs to bend. and
Oh, this was
sway.
lovely. You
So
did a
yeah,
great
so
job.
so yeah, Jesse roasted this. Check out the
Yeah, look
back.
at that. Oh, that's beautiful.
He did a great job. How much did it sag?
It it didn't sag that much. The ends burn and it sort of cups just a touch, maybe
Yeah.
like a 1/16 of an inch.
And just so you know, the way it cups is when you have the grain, whatever way the grain's
Yeah.
going, that's the way it cups.
It'll cup like a 1/16 of an inch.
Yeah.
And that's
So
without
does-
any
And the thinner the wood, the more it'll
any
cup.
vacuum.
So it will always cup when you do this?
Yeah. So the ideal.
So this is home
but
home
once-
roasting.
But once
Home
it's been
roasted.
torrefied, it's not moving again. It becomes the most stable wood, which
So
is
that's why
everyone-
necks are awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How stable do you suppose Jesse's 8-quarter home roasted material is?
It's probably quite stable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So something
mean-
like this would be
but
in
I
the
mean, you're
in the
not gonna be,
kiln
like,
for
using it to
4 days.
Hit other
Yeah,
people
yeah,
with.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's gonna be fine.
So this would be a couple
This
days
is
in
really
a
dark.
in a roaster.
Yeah, this is super.
and this
dark
is
here.
4 hours at
'Cause
350.
There's no finish on this.
375,
When you put,
okay,
like, a
yeah.
lacquer on this. This thing's gonna get even darker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was definitely cooked at a high temperature for a while.
So yeah, someone sent us. This is not
Yeah.
what we normally use,
No.
Dan. We
But
normally use roasted from you.
Well, that's fine. You can use it from anyone.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
Flip
Someone
those-
sent us.
flip-
But when it
flip
comes
that
down
over.
to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
so like when you're making the wood and you do want to try roasting it, you want to make sure you get more wood than you need.
So I was
Because you
gonna
need
ask
to,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mill
'cause-
it afterwards?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you're going to get some end checking. You can't help it. You also possibly could get some honeycombing, which is the biggest
Yeah.
issue when it comes to home roasting.
Okay.
So when you're home roasting it,
home roast.
yeah, well, because people ask me about home roasting. It's like, no, try it.
So
Go for it. Have fun with it.
So
Your house
Sergeant-
doesn't smell like a campfire, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sergeant Bishop had a piece
don't
of
tell the fire
maple. He
department.
had it was like this, and he roasted it. It went,
Yeah.
and he had to mill it
Chuck it.
down. And well, no, he was able to mill it. To,
Oh, good. Yeah. But yeah, but I've seen a lot of people where they're like, okay, well, so I got the block and this is exactly the specs I need, so I'm gonna roast it now.
No.
And I'm like, oh, that's a
No.
bad idea.
Bends and
Yeah, and the other thing too is if it hasn't, because it has to first been kiln dried before it can be roasted.
Oh.
Because if the moisture of the wood is too high when they put it in the torrefication kiln, the wood, not the wood, the moisture inside will start to bubble. And when
That's
it
the
bubbles,
honeycomb.
it needs to go someplace, and that's where it honeycombs. So sometimes you can be like, oh, this piece is perfect, and you make a slice and you open it up, and there's a whole section here where it's just like brittleized because there was a water pocket there. It wasn't able to
It
get
just
dried
boiled
out.
out,
It just boiled out,
Okay.
and it took the wood with it.
Huh.
And now you have this spot where you have to try to fix.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Cool.
learned some things about wood and stuff.
That's
You
right.
know, you'll love Dan's wood.
So you know more now?
I do know more now.
Knowing's half the battle.
It is. Do you want to see some like really high quality?
You want to
tone
see
wood?
some
Yeah.
rad tone wood?
Some really high quality tone wood. I mean,
Are there any other questions for Dan before we show him some really super radical tone wood? Yes, Ike at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store.
So I've seen.
Come over here. Come over here.
Come up to the microphone.
I guarantee he can yell out enough.
Yeah, Ike and I can ride with
I
him.
guarantee.
Yeah, whatever you want.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. I'm going this way.
yeah. Come on up. Whatever you want.
All right. So I've seen some builders use Polonia. Am I in it? Am I in it?
Am I in
We're
it?
over?
Scooch in, yeah. There you go.
So Polonia, is that how you say it?
Maybe.
The-
Apollonia. Her name is Apollonia.
Yeah.
Gotta get-
And then there's Vanity and Lisa Lisa.
So like Polonia, it's a really light wood.
That was
And
what
so they've
Cipriano
used,
had yesterday.
Like Fender's used it for the Brad Paisley,
Mhm.
and I've seen other builders use that. Have you seen like an increase in that? And then
Not really.
but where does that even come from?
It's
Like it's one of those things where I've never heard of it, and all of a
I'd
sudden
have to look
it
at
was
it.
here.
There's so many woods out there. I don't know all of them. I have this big database.
We
that
had a guy
thumb
bring a
through.
blank of it in
And-
yesterday, Dan, and it's
Yeah.
it's like
It's super
it's
lightweight.
like
almost
balsa
nothing.
wood.
So,
But it's
the
also
only-
super
Super
soft.
strong.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
true
the
though, right?
problem.
Oh.
So
No,
when it comes
it's
to
not.
density-
Yeah, you
strong.
can dent it with your fingernail.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
when it comes to density,
neat.
that's the big thing people are really because you want
Let's
to
talk about that.
Yeah, you want to be as light as possible because you don't want to hurt your back.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. Is you want to have this great sounding guitar, but I want to weigh 4 pounds because if you're especially you're going to be on stage for like an hour, you don't
Or
want to.
3.
It hurts, and that's one of the biggest issues people have. And they're
Especially if
I
you get
want the
old
lightest
like
wood,
Ike.
like all of us.
Yeah. Well, the old
Yeah.
wood. That's where we're yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't
But-
talking about your penis.
It's
But-
a family show.
So
No,
what
it's
happens
It's not a
is-
family show.
No.
There's a disclaimer.
Your show's a family
My
show,
family,
yeah.
my show's a family show.
But no, it's a good point. So when you have the woods that are softer, you can get the lighter guitars. But then that also means they're more fragile, they're softer. They might not really be able to take the strain as good. So you kind of have to walk that line. Is it fulfilling the issue, or is it doing what I want it to do? At what point is my goal important? At what point is the structure important? Can I make some type of middle ground where it works? There's a number of woods out there that would be incredible to use for lightweight guitars.
Dan needs to talk louder.
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Dan.
Yeah, there's a number of woods out there that'd be incredible to use for lightweight guitars, but the issue is they become too soft and brittle. And they don't hold up well, or they don't take well working with other woods like walnut or maple. And so they're kind of like the exotic woods that people are like, oh, this would be fun to try. And then they try it and they're like, I don't want to play it anymore.
You know what I think? I think I would rather have a hollowed out guitar
I'm out.
made of more dense material
Yeah.
than a softer material
I
that's
would.
solid.
You have to
Yeah.
remember that there are screws involved with guitars, and you have
Yeah.
to screw
Yeah.
So
stuff to stuff.
Stuff to
and
stuff.
and I worry about screwing
Well, then what's
Yeah.
the compromise?
things to
Yeah.
Like,
to,
what's
to
the
really
toughest
light
wood
wood.
that's also
yeah.
the lightest?
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the other thing
yeah.
too is one wood doesn't do one thing. There's no wood that comes out of a mill. It's like every single piece is exactly the same. They don't have that. So like even the ash, most of the ash that we get in isn't really usable for guitars. Most of the
To-
spruce we get in isn't really usable.
What
for
do you do
guitars.
with that then?
Well, it depends. If it comes to me at this point, I'm going to find a home for it. So
Okay.
we try to give it out to supply.
You send it to me.
Well, I sent you. No, I actually sent it to craft places, and there's some schools that we work
Stand by
with,
one,
so
Jeff.
people can
I see
you
it.
know play around. And then oftentimes I have people just come to the shop, and I have like boxes of my scrap wood, and they'll just pick it up and take it home, and then they'll send me pictures like, "Look, I made a chessboard," and I'm like, "That's actually really cool."
Yeah, right on.
I'm happy staying out of a fireplace
Yeah.
because That's the whole problem.
Okay.
Is so much wood comes in, and there's this like mahogany.
So
Mahogany is a perfect example. It can be super light. It can be super heavy.
There's mahogany and then there's mahogany.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have a question from Jeff in the studio audience.
It's not a dick and fart question. I'm being legit here. So I'm from Seattle, Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know it.
There's a Seattle in Alaska?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? Can we? I don't know if we can hear him. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that there's just a small portion of car builders that's harvesting this wood.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the wood's going, furniture, whatever you want, figurines,
Mhm.
Not to impose any politics or anything, but just the fact that these things are so old and so precious. Is there anything while you're thinking about building a guitar or, sketching something out before you send it to Matt to be aware of, just like, this is really old stuff? Is there any kind of environmental, social, without getting too
Oh,
artsy
sure.
fartsy,
Legal.
but this is a,
That's my answer. Keep it legal.
Okay. So for everyone who, so we might not be
yeah.
able to hear Jeff's
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Can I repeat the question?
Yes,
You can
yes,
repeat the
please do
question.
because the microphones
So
are
this-
pointed this way and
that-
it's a long
And
question.
he had a
It's gonna be-
really good question.
Okay.
Yes. And the question was?
And the question was, because the wood is so precious and because there's really not a lot of it, as a luthier or someone that wants to start working on their guitars at home, is there anything that they should be aware of when purchasing wood? Is there anything environmental or political or something that they're like, well, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, and I'm not fudging the numbers. I don't want to be the guy that's out there like, check out my ivory tusk guitar. That
Yeah.
would not be good.
that's the essence of my.
Okay.
Yeah, and the answer is keep it legal. So when we go and we buy wood, we are buying from people, and they actually have to show a chain of documents from
Now,
where the tree started
Let
to
me
how
let
it
me
got to
let me
us.
stop you there, Dan. Is
Yeah.
it with ivory you have to have a certificate of authenticity or is some rosewoods have the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, oh,
and
yeah.
some big companies that rhyme with Bibson even have gotten into trouble for some
Oh.
of that stuff, right?
Through the years, everyone's gotten in trouble at some point.
Okay.
But, like I'll tell you right now, the one that he's referring to, they sieged all the wood. They never even opened up litigation against it. They couldn't
Oh.
prove anything.
So what did they do with the lumber?
No one knows.
We know.
But they never got
We
it.
know one.
Didn't
Yeah.
they do the government series with those?
Huh?
They did the government series
Yeah.
with those, yeah.
Yeah.
So they did a whole series of guitars with that wood, like.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah. yeah.
But
Okay.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, when it comes down to it, just make sure you keep it legal, because as long as there's people out there getting the permits, there's having somebody else who's double checking it to make sure it's okay to take.
So we
They're
can
not
trust
poaching.
that process at this
Yes.
point.
Yeah, the process is very well.
This isn't blood diamond.
No,
No,
no. Now, as
Yes,
long
ma'am.
as they stay away from, I've got this buddy, and he can get me some really good wood,
I don't know anyone like that.
Right, but if you start talking to mills or people and say, is this legal? They'll say real quick, oh yeah, because you'll hear it in their voice because of the amount of pain they have to go through with
Okay.
the paperwork, and they hate it. But if they're like, oh, no problem, it's just like,
Mrs. Toast has a super chat that she would like
Yes.
to tell us about.
Dan,
Yes.
two-part question.
okay.
One, what's your take on Stradivarius wood? And B, is wood located deeper within a forest, less affected by the wind, and how so?
Oh, okay, let me handle the second question first, because that actually involves wind shake, which I love to talk about.
Which kind of like arcs our story to another question earlier about vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when a tree's out in the woods, you got this big, huge tree, and then Mother Nature comes and blows on it, and then the tree bends. And have you ever heard the creaking?
Oh yeah.
Everyone's heard the creaking of the trees, right? Where it's just like, and you're like, whoa, and it breaks the other way. You're actually hearing the fibers snap inside, and that's called wind shake, which at times can look really cool if it's had a chance to grow over itself.
So is that where like flame or quilt could come from?
Not so much quilt.
Okay.
Maybe some type of flame, but
Okay.
it wouldn't be like the maple flame
All right.
that we're thinking of.
It's
That's,
like a healing? Does that mean like it's healing and
It
that's
kind
a
of-
scar?
Like a
broken bone,
they can't heal themselves.
osteoblast.
So like if like a lizard and it cuts the tail off and it grows a new tail. Plants can't do that. So what they do is they grow over it.
it's a scar.
So it's a scar, and then you see stuff growing over. So that I'm not telling people to go out there and start scraping trees, and you're get a whole bunch of quilters.
No, it's almost like the knots, how the knots form.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So all this happens. So when wind shake is, if you're in the forest and you have this big, huge forest, and toward the center of the forest is the trees, and they have a lot of wind shelter, meaning they're not getting hit by the constant amount of wind. They're not going back and forth. They're not rippling. They're not going to have a lot of the same issues. But at the same time, that might not necessarily be a bad thing, depending on what part of the tree we're harvesting.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, sort of a fault.
Hold on, wait a minute. We got the
Wait,
Stradivarius.
Yeah.
The cat pissed on the wood, and now it's awesome.
Well, mine was a follow-up on that last
Yeah.
point.
So the Stradivarius has been
Tough
touched
shit.
on for numbers of years. A lot of people say the reason why the Stradivarius guitar sounds so good is because at the time that he was building it in his workshop, it was part of the Little Ice Age. Because if you go through, you'll see like there's dips in the average temperature there. Some of it's based upon greenhouse gases. Some of it's based upon the activity of the sun. We'll get into that later. But
Wait,
I don't
let
really.
me pause you right there.
Oh, sure.
Leslie might not understand. It's part of a little ice age.
It's little. So, but I don't really believe
Who
that
cares,
because in
man?
order for
Sorry,
that
sorry.
wood to be old enough,
Yeah.
it would have to put it back another 300 years before the Little Ice Age.
That's doable though, right?
Well, it is, but that means that their theory that is the rings were so tight because the Ice Age kind of becomes invalid.
Okay.
I think what
Ice
happened
melts, so there you go.
it waits.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was it's really the age of the wood that they got into.
Okay.
Because I don't think that in Europe at that particular time, where he was harvesting the wood from, that wood had to have been at least 600-700 years old.
When were those awesome violins?
I think
created?
it was like the 1700s.
Okay.
Was
I have no
like
idea.
right around there.
1680.
Yeah, so it was like,
that.
it was right at the end of that era,
Okay.
which was, but if you go back another 400 or 500 years before that, the forest would have, in Europe would have been huge, and I think that's the wood he was using was insanely old growth wood, which we just can't get a hold of anymore.
No. There's too many mini marts
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
strip
So
malls
that's
where
my theory on
the
the
forest
Stradivarius.
used to
I
be.
think it's the age of the wood. I don't think it was the Little Ice Age. I don't think it was the varnish he used. I think it was the age of the wood, which will be almost impossible to tell
Okay.
because you can't count the rings on something that thick.
Short Fat Lawyer has
Well, just add, sort of to follow up on like the wind shake issue, does that issue occur more on the outer rings or towards the core, like when that's happening? Because I'm imagining like some of the grains have to be stronger. So it would be.
No, it'll be on the outer because the way it bends, if it's bending here, it's putting a lot more stress on the side that's bending from.
Yeah, because that's
where
what I was
the
figuring that
core-
part would be the longer
Yeah.
portion.
And the
So
other thing
during
is too, the
monsoon
core is
season,
gonna
that would be on
most
the
liquid.
south end.
When I get up in the morning.
Exactly.
God
Yes,
bless
all
you,
wood
Chris.
is bent,
Anyone
we
else?
all know that.
Yes,
So, okay, so Short Fat Lawyer
I'm good.
has a question. If the Pope shits deep in the forest, would anyone hear it?
Red.
I was gonna say purple, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Licorice.
It's got a licoricey tone.
It does.
Would he wear the hat?
Yeah. Oh, he wears the hat, baby.
Like all the time, right?
So Dan, you want to see some totally rad
I
tone
do.
wood?
I've been aching for this.
Okay. So this is a guitar that you know that I started many
It's
months
almost,
ago,
reveal,
and
reveal,
Dylan brought
reveal.
it. He brought it up into the 2020.
Yeah, he brought it to life.
He did. He really did.
Well, you haven't hooked up the electricity yet, so.
Oh, but we're fixing
Look
to.
at this.
So upend this so everybody can see
Whoa.
what it is that we're working with here.
Mhm.
What say ye, Dan?
I like it. Well, okay.
Less ply.
Why do you like
I'll
it?
tell you, I
It's
like it for
fly
a couple reasons.
authentic.
Yeah. Well,
Fly
first of all,
authentic.
I'm a big believer that there's not one way to do something.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that.
You and I talked about this like
Yeah.
before I even started doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, how can I put this? We have to be more like we were talking about. You know, what can you be to be more environmentally aware? And one of the things you have to do is you have to be willing to try things that maybe are kind of poo-pooed on by most of the world.
Mhm.
That's something we always have to kind of look at and go like,
It's
well,
an element of respect. Why
Right.
should plywood
yeah.
be
And plywood is a wonderful wood. In fact, they use birch for it.
Sure.
So it's not like it's bad wood.
Yeah.
it builds
And it's
our
so
houses?
strong. It's
Well,
so strong
and
with
the
the
other thing really
crossbeams.
is you're dealing with a lot of glue. And resin is great when it comes to giving something strength.
And wood holds its structure
Yeah.
better than steel in a fire.
And the other thing too is if you look here at the plywood, when they do plywood, do you see how some of it goes one way and some of it goes the other?
So half of it goes one way, half goes
What,
the other,
what
right?
they're really doing is they're giving it structural rigidity.
Yeah.
Because the wood's now fighting itself. I think.
Would you say that's why this neck is going to be totally rocking?
It's
Yeah,
not gonna
it
bend
will.
at all,
It will
I'll tell you
actually.
that.
It'll be super strong.
that kinda
Now,
herringbone?
is this like my favorite looking guitar? No. But
Whoa,
it
whoa,
but
whoa!
it looks pretty cool.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, right? You can go back to Portland.
Yeah, go back to Portland, hippie.
That's right. You're from Colorado.
I know, yeah.
You don't get to say that.
Yeah, I get to say it, yeah, yeah.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Because we've only been here a day, so
Yeah.
we only get a very small snippet of the Colorado. But I notice you're advertising for lawyers here.
Mm-hmm.
They're very aggressive.
Yeah, there's a
What
lot
is
of
up with that?
ambulance chasers.
Yeah, they're like mean.
That
Yeah.
isn't Shanker?
Yeah, I'm like
Yeah.
looking at them going like, man, that would not.
Brian
Fromage,
Fuller.
Schuster, Pitts, Lopez.
Don't tell
Or you don't want to
anybody,
mess
they're
around with
entertaining.
those guys, especially if you're a Colorado croissant guitars.
Everybody
no,
signed
Paul.
a waiver
That's right.
when they walked
That's
into
right.
the shop.
But no, I
After
think
they
this is
already did a
cool.
bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to bleed in this shop.
No,
That's right.
definitely not.
Not until you sign the waiver.
I'm stoked to play it.
Yeah.
It's, we're gonna probably do a proper reveal on it on Friday.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's up to
It'll get done.
it's already
Yeah.
Thursday tomorrow, baby. Yeah.
It'll get done.
And you know the other thing too about guitars like this is it just shows it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's not just the wood. It's the guy making it. It's all the other parts, how they fit together. It's the electronics. There's so much to do with it.
One of the things that Dylan and I were talking about, the bummer part about this guitar is there's as much or more work to building this than if we just used the regular shit that you would have normally made
Yeah,
this
it
out
would have been
of.
a lot easier.
Yeah.
It would have been
Finished
totally
guitars,
easier. Yeah.
Way
And they were
easier.
still working on that guitar.
Yeah.
Right.
There is
Yeah.
30 hours
Mhm.
in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
few days
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah, because it's got all the same stuff that everything like a mahogany maple top thing would have. It's just so much more work because it's a harder material to work with, and you have to do everything the same. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dave, does the glue keep the birch chips in rigor as well? Is it like amber it in a way?
A little. It depends on the type of glue. So when you're dealing with resin, there's 2D resin and there's 3D resin. And 2D resin is designed to work like Type Bond 50. I think is 2D resin. I might be off on that one. But then there's
What's
new.
Type Bond 50?
Is that it? Is there, no, there's another one. It's like there's one that's like a 2D glue, and there's another one's a 3D glue. And one of them holds its shape really good between two, and the other one actually holds its rigidity by itself.
Okay.
But the problem is there's also expansion. So there's a lot of other parts that go into the glue. It's not just
They're
one
water
glue.
based. Would it make a difference? Like, you know, so many people just
Nitro base.
and like hide glue or
Yeah,
you
see,
know,
hide glue. That's
you
no,
know,
a lot of people
they
like
don't
hide glue
you
because
know,
it doesn't
the new
expand
Type
much.
bonds and things, but
Yeah.
you know, Type Bond has proved to be one of the best glues ever because of its flexibility.
But you guys
Right.
use Rue glue, right?
We use Rue glue.
Yeah.
We use Rue glue. Well, not on everything.
Okay.
But we use Rue glue when we're gluing up the bodies for the seam lengths because it's strong enough to do the job, but it's not expansive enough to push it out to have an issue with the glue line.
Is it an aliphatic resin glue
Yes.
as well? Like, okay.
Is that made from kangaroo shoes
Yes.
from the 80s?
We don't talk.
The,
The
the
secretion
kangaroos
from
with the
kangaroo
zippers?
pouches is what
Yeah.
it's
You don't
made
make
from.
your own hide wood or hide glue?
I would.
I'm not out there like.
I've heard that the guys
I
at
got wood on my
Colorado,
brain.
I've heard the guys at Colorado Croissant use their own hide wood.
That's right.
Needs more horse, Carl.
And nitro hide wood.
Well,
think
thanks
it's
for
pronounced
looking at my
Oh yeah, I love it.
and Matt's crazy project here. I'm excited to finish this.
I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah.
I think it's never looked better.
We have
You
a
know, the
super
s-
chat.
You know the scary part is though,
What's that?
if this sounds better than some of the other ones, we're gonna have to really talk a lot. You know, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to be like, oh, what happened
Yeah.
here? We're gonna
Yeah.
have
So
to
Jeff
rethink
Childs
a lot.
wonders, can redwood be used for guitars? I have never heard of anyone using it.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Chris and I have a double neck being made right now with redwood and guacamole wood.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what is it about redwood that you? It's a cool wood.
I like the look of it. It's got a
Yeah.
certain sheen to it. The grains are pretty.
They're nice
Um,
and tight,
Yeah, they're nice. But I wouldn't use it as a structural wood.
Now we're not talking about like a fence redwood, right?
No.
It's a different
Yeah,
kind of
it's a
yeah. So
different-
don't go
yeah.
to Home Depot and buy redwood and glue it together and say I'm going to make a rad guitar.
Yeah, well,
Go to Home Depot and buy CDX,
Yeah,
glue it together,
that's,
and build a rad
that's
guitar.
what you use to make a rad guitar. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but I know it's what's the word? I just kind of like the look of it. I mean, everyone's got their favorites.
What is Paduke? What really is Paduke? Because we got a great piece of Paduke right here.
Hey, who's
Bring it
got a
over, bring
piece
it
of
over.
Paduke?
Because I have 3 guitars made out of Paduke, and I want to know why it's such a great looking wood.
Because it's
But is it good?
orange.
It's oily.
Because it's orange.
It's dense.
I like to call that paddywhack.
Yeah.
So it's actually in the family of mahogany.
Okay.
And you can tell that right off the bat when you look at the grains here. And the reason why people love these woods is because they're filled with so much torsion. So when we talked about the fibers before, how the fibers, they're not straight. Fibers are going every which way in the wood. And so when they're kind of growing like in a mix. And the more torsion the fibers have interweaving together, the stronger the wood will act.
Is that part of this?
Yeah, that's part of that, like when it moves. And so you get like a whole bunch of torsion in the wood. Now, this also means when you're cutting the wood, if you ever cut like, chunks like this and you're going through, all of a sudden you'll hear, just it grabs the blade.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, why? It was perfectly straight before. Or like, it's perfectly quartered now and I cut an inch off and now the thing's a little bit twisted. It's because the fibers will actually just realign themselves a little bit. But that's how
a lot of people think, stand by one.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that as soon as wood moves, it's because moisture leaves the wood.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily. It could be stresses in the lumber,
Yeah.
or it could be moisture. Usually, if it does it right away, it's stress in the
And
lumber.
you want it to have a lot of stress in the wood because the stronger the stress, it'll like fight itself. And that's really about helping keep it rigid.
I
While
like to
it's
say it
airing.
relaxes.
Like opposing forces
Exactly.
to keep it
Right.
straight.
Just, like remember the old style guitars, which I can't say the name of?
Yeah.
But they would take the body and then they would slice it in half and then they would reverse one of them,
Yeah.
put a walnut in between and then re-glue it up.
Yep.
And why would they make a one-piece guitar and turn it into a three-piece guitar?
Yeah.
And the answer is they wanted to make it more rigid.
Is that why when you saw my guitar, you told me about the hinge?
Yeah, the hinge matching. Yeah, because what we do is like we'll take if it's a longer piece of wood, like let's say this is about 40 inches, and I want to make a one-piece or a two-piece guitar out of it. What I'll do is I'll take it and I'll cut it here, and I'll hinge match it, and it'll bend the other piece over, and it'll also give it these really cool kind of chevrons with the what do you call it, the way the grains match up. They'll look like this, and I like the way that looks a lot. But it's also because then it'll kind of fight itself.
Do we grow Paduke in the United States?
Yeah, where does it come from?
I don't know where it comes from. I mean,
I heard
judging
Africa,
from this,
that's
though.
why I was just wondering.
Well, you already know the answer. Why are you asking the
No,
question?
I heard Africa, but I don't know.
I bet you're right.
But the thing is, though, wood doesn't grow in one spot. Like, there's African mahogany, and there's, Central American mahogany, and there's Philippine mahogany. Well, we've already hit about every part of the world there is
Yeah.
except Antarctica. I mean, we're moving around. It's still mahogany. There are different species of mahogany, sure, but it's still mahogany. And it's kind of the same way, like this, most likely, if this looks the way it is, it'll grow wherever mahogany grows.
Okay.
Because the trees are going to have very similar needs, because those needs are putting themselves out in similar grain patterns.
I want to say that, I've seen Paduke, bloodwood, things like that, where they hack the trees down and they're brown around the bark, and then orange and red on the inside, and South America somewhere. We could look it up. If there was only some device, we could look it up.
Yeah, go Google.
Yeah, if there was only something like that. Oh well, one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Cool, man.
Any other questions from anyone else? Let's go ahead and wrap this one up, you
Yeah.
guys. It's been a while, but it's always good to talk to Dan from Guitar Wood Experts. What?
I love wood too much, though. That's my problem.
Love it.
Can I read this last one?
Sure, why not?
This is from
Is it clean?
Colorado Croissant Guitars.
That fucking guy.
I'm gonna attempt to do it the way that he wants it to be done. Hi, I'm Matt, and I hate CCG because they make guitars all by hand and without tools and use pure nitride.
That's exactly me, only not as loud.
Wait, I thought it sounded just like me.
Hold on, do it one more time.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Okay, ready?
Wait. Okay, yeah, you ready? Okay,
Ready.
let's try it. Hang on, I gotta find it. Ready? Hi, I'm Matt, and I hate CCG because they make guitars all by handcraft and without out any tools and use pure nitro. Woo!
That was totally me. I just said that.
So is he actually like doing it like old school with like the like scraping
Drawing
every
I,
bit?
I
the
think
whole
he's just
thing?
scratching with fingernails.
Really? Like
I-
not anything. He's like gnawing on the wood like.
He has electric raccoons that do all the work for him. Yeah. Yeah.
Looking every morning.
Pure beaver maids.
I
Yep.
thought they were hamsters.
No, they're raccoons. They're
I thought they were
a good
hamsters.
They're
and
quite
I
violent.
swear
Yeah, I
they were
think
doing
so,
double
yeah.
duty.
We are
No. He
quickly-
uses the hamsters for the
we're losing-
routing for the pickups because
Yeah.
they're smaller.
We're losing them. All right. So everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks to Dan from Guitar Wood Experts for coming out and hanging out with us for the day.
will not hear my voice this day.
Yeah.
We'll put his
So
contact information on both videos.
yes,
because-
yes. So if you guys need guitar woods from a guitar wood expert, Dan is the man to call. It's in the name. It's pretty obvious.
Dan at
GuitarWoodExperts.com.
It's so easy to remember. Dan at guitarwoodexperts.com.
And then we're going to be doing something together soon.
What are you guys gonna do? What do you got on the books?
We don't know yet. We're
we
just
don't know
talking
yet. We're probably gonna do a video together, even if we have to do it like via Zoom or something. And we're gonna
Cool.
put together a little, because our channel gets a little nerdy on that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious about. So this will be the cliffhanger, and we'll stop.
Hold on, wait. I got one more thing to add though.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen Dylan's guitar video where he made a guitar out of a fence post that was still on the ground?
No.
That's pretty awesome.
It's the best video
It's the
ever,
greatest
by
video of all
far.
time.
And
Yeah, we're
so
zooming.
anyway, we're gonna do a video about. I want to know about the math of the density of different woods and all that kind of. So we're gonna do something like that.
We'll have fun with that.
Let's go.
So be watching for that, and be watching for our reply video to Brad Angrove at whatever the fuck his thing is on a guitar wood, great guitar build off, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you next time. You're so smart. Nice having you.